The 1980s were a time of innovation, change, and unique everyday activities that many of us fondly remember, but are now lost to time. Let's take a nostalgic journey and explore some of these memorable experiences. Remember the excitement of heading to the local video store? It was a weekend ritual for many families. You'd walk in, greeted by rows of VHS tapes with colorful covers promising a great movie night. The joy of browsing the aisles, picking up potential choices, and finally settling on the perfect film was unmatched. The anticipation built as you rushed home, popped the tape into the VCR, and settled in for a cozy evening. This experience was more than just renting a movie. It was about the thrill of the hunt and shared moments with family and friends. The video store was a community hub where you might bump into neighbors and discuss the latest releases. These simple trips created long-lasting memories. Before USB drives and cloud storage, floppy disks were essential for saving documents, pictures, and programs. These small plastic squares had limited storage, usually just enough for a few files. Upgrading to a high-density 1.44 MB disk was a big deal. Every computer had a floppy disk drive, and using them required careful handling. The process was slow, but at the time it felt revolutionary. Floppy disks were a significant part of early computing, serving as a bridge to modern storage solutions. Before mobile phones became widespread, pagers were the go-to for urgent communication. These small devices were simple and effective, allowing people to send short messages to one another. When a pager beeped, it meant you had to find a phone and call the sender back as soon as possible. The simplicity of pagers was their strength, and they were widely used by doctors, emergency workers, and anyone who needed to be reachable at all times. In the 1980s, developing film at a photomat was a common experience. These tiny kiosks were often found in parking lots, making it convenient to drop off your rolls of film. The process was simple. You handed over your film, got a receipt, and waited a few days for your photos to be developed. The anticipation of seeing how your pictures turned out was part of the thrill. Picking up the developed photos was always an exciting event, reliving the moments captured on film. The Sony Walkman revolutionized how we listened to music in the 1980s. It offered freedom and portability that was unprecedented for the time. Creating mixtapes became a beloved activity, spending hours picking out the perfect songs, recording them onto a cassette, and swapping tapes with friends. Each mixtape was a personalized journey, a way to share your musical tastes with others. The Walkman made long commutes and everyday activities more enjoyable, turning them into personal concerts right in your ears. In the 1980s, smoking on an airplane was a common sight. Flights had designated smoking sections, and passengers could light up mid-air. The smell of smoke often filled the cabin, drifting from the smoking area to the non-smoking seats. Over time, growing awareness of the risks associated with secondhand smoke led to changes in regulations. By the late 1990s, smoking on commercial flights was almost entirely prohibited, improving air quality and comfort for all passengers. Laserdiscs were the cutting-edge technology for home movies before DVDs took over. These large discs offered superior video and audio quality compared to VHS tapes. Watching a film on Laserdisc felt like a special event due to the enhanced clarity and sound. However, Laserdiscs were quite large, and a full-length movie often required multiple discs. Despite this inconvenience, the novelty and high quality of Laserdiscs made them a sought-after format for collectors and cinema enthusiasts. Creating mixtapes was a beloved hobby in the 1980s. The art involved carefully selecting and recording songs onto a cassette tape, crafting a personalized music collection. People spent hours recording songs from the radio, perfectly timing them to avoid the DJ's voice, and arranging the tracks in just the right order. Mixtapes were more than just collections of songs. They were expressions of emotion, moods, and messages. In the 1980s, payphones were a common sight on street corners and in public places. People often carried change specifically to use payphones, with quarters and dimes ready for that all-important call. Finding a payphone in an emergency provided a sense of relief. Payphones were reliable and could be found in almost any location, making it easy to stay connected even when away from home. Action figures, He-Man and She-Ra action figures were the crown jewels of many toy collections in the 1980s. Children everywhere spent hours creating epic battles and grand adventures with these iconic characters. The excitement of playing with He-Man and She-Ra was not only about the toys themselves, but also about the vast and magical world they represented. Each action figure brought to life a piece of the vibrant and fantastical universe of Eternia and Etheria, making playtime an epic saga every day. In the 1980s, MTV was the ultimate destination for music lovers. The launch of MTV brought iconic videos that defined the decade. Music fans spent hours glued to their televisions, waiting to catch their favorite videos. MTV wasn't only about the music, it became a cultural phenomenon that shaped fashion trends and attitudes. The vivid imagery and creative storytelling of the videos made them an essential part of the music experience. In the 1980s, the rhythmic clickety-clack of an electric typewriter was a familiar sound in both homes and offices. Each press of the keys brought the satisfying sight of words appearing on the paper. Using a typewriter required care and precision. Mistakes meant reaching for correction tape or whiteout to fix typos. Despite the challenges, there was a certain charm to using a typewriter. It made writing feel more deliberate and permanent, with each word hammered into place by your very own hands. In the 1980s, road trips often meant navigating with large paper maps. Unfolding these maps to plot a course and then trying to refold them was a challenge on its own. Using a paper map required skill and patience. Families often bonded over map reading, with parents teaching children how to find their way. This hands-on navigation created a sense of accomplishment when you reached your destination and led to unexpected detours and discoveries, making the journey itself an integral part of the experience. In the 1980s, home computers like the Commodore 64 introduced many to the world of programming with BASIC. The beginner's language was a gateway to creating simple programs and games. Writing code line by line and seeing it come to life on the screen was a thrilling experience. Programming in BASIC was the first taste of computer science for many, sparking creativity and problem-solving skills. In the 1980s, cassette-based answering machines were a common household item. These machines recorded missed calls on small cassette tapes. Listening to messages required rewinding and fast-forwarding the tape to find the right spot. Each message was a tiny slice of life captured on magnetic tape. These answering machines provided a crucial link to the outside world, ensuring you never missed an important call, even when you were out. In the 1980s, educational film strips were a staple in classrooms. The visual aids provided a break from traditional teaching methods and offered a dynamic way to learn. Teachers would play the film strip while narrating or discussing the content, making the lessons more engaging. Film strips helped students grasp complex concepts and retain information better. In the 1980s, many places did not have mandatory seatbelt laws. It was common to see drivers and passengers without them. Over time, awareness of the importance of seatbelts grew. Studies showed that wearing seatbelts significantly reduced injury and fatalities in accidents. Public safety campaigns played a crucial role in changing attitudes towards seatbelt use, saving countless lives in the end. In the 1980s, phone books were essential tools for finding contact information. These hefty volumes contained extensive listings of individuals and businesses. Flipping through the pages of a phone book was a routine task. Despite their weight and bulk, phone books were household staples, sitting by the phone ready for whenever you needed to make a call. In the 1980s, printed catalogs from companies like Sears were a popular way to shop from home. The thick and colorful catalogs were packed with everything from clothing to appliances. Flipping through the pages, circling desired items, and making a wish list was a common pastime. Shopping from catalogs was convenient and enjoyable, especially before the internet made online shopping possible. In the 1980s, aerobics classes became a fitness craze. Colorful spandex outfits, leg warmers, and energetic instructors were the hallmarks of these classes. People flocked to gyms and community centers to join aerobic sessions, inspired by upbeat music and lively routines. Fitness videos by instructors like Jane Fonda also gained popularity, allowing people to follow along at home. Aerobics combined exercise with fun, making it a social and motivating way to stay fit. The 1980s were filled with unique experiences and activities that have since faded away, replaced by modern technology and changing lifestyles. Reflecting on these lost activities brings a sense of nostalgia and appreciation for the simpler times. They remind us of how far we've come and the many small joys that once shaped our daily lives.